Over the past 6 months, the Leica SL3-S has been with me through long wedding days, cross-country travel, and studio portrait sessions, and everything in between. It's not just a camera for me, it's a tool that I use every single day. So this is my in-depth review of the Leica SL3-S after 6 months of use. The SL3-S follows Leica's design language of minimalist, industrial, and premium. But it's more than just looks. This camera feels right in the hand with its deep grip that gives you security for long handheld shoots, and the weight is balanced even with Leica's heavier Apo lenses or their Summilux 50mm 1.4 or the lens I have here, the 24-70 2.8. What I look for in a camera is reliability and something unapologetically true to form. And that's what I love about the SL system. It's a proper full-size camera in a world that's trending in smaller, lighter, and often flimsier. Leica didn't compromise here. The interface is clean, but not cluttered. You get the controls you need, nothing more and nothing less. The dials and buttons follow Leica's minimalist approach, and the menu system is equally streamlined. I always shoot with this optional grip. It balances out larger lenses and extends the battery life. More importantly, it eliminates distractions. As someone with larger hands, this grip and body combo feels made for me. The EVF is a 5.76 million dot OLED with a 120 Hz refresh rate, and it's the best that I've ever used. It's big, it's responsive, and it makes actually composing enjoyable. And something I can't say about other mirrorless cameras, unfortunately. So the touchscreen is brighter and more responsive than the previous models, and the new UI is clean and intuitive. From a usability standpoint, this is the most accessible Leica SL body yet. With the flip-up screen, it's appreciated, but I'd still love to see Leica move to a side swivel articulating design like many other modern mirrorless competitors. So let's talk about the stills performance. The SL3-S uses a 24.6 megapixel BSI CMOS sensor and supports multi-shot modes up to 48 megapixels and 96 megapixels. This is the same base sensor as the SL2S, but with an updated processor and refined color science. I really like the raw files that are coming from this camera, not in just resolution, but I feel Leica's color science is often debated, but I can say from firsthand that the files from this require very minimal editing. The skin tones seem very clean, the contrast curve is very natural, and you can push the highlights and shadows without wrecking the image. So with this sensor, the low light is another strong point. With an ISO range of 50 to 200,000, I've shot clean images in darkness, in studio sessions with strobes. The detail and dynamic range hold up against much higher resolution cameras. And in the wedding environment, the lighting changes constantly, so the noise performance has been consistently excellent coming from this camera. Very impressed. I think where this camera shines the most is with Leica's SL glass, and even more so with M lenses via an adapter. The two lenses I paired with this camera is the 24-70 2.8 from Leica and Leica's 50mm 1.4 Summilux. So now let's talk a little bit about the video capabilities of this camera, because this is where the SL3-S becomes indispensable for me. This camera has internal ProRes 422 HQ recording. That alone is a huge step forward. You can record 10-bit 422 straight to the CF Express card, no external recorder needed. It supports 6K OpenGate 3.2 internal recording, and you can also record directly to an SSD via the USB-C slot. If I had to describe the color science in the SL3-S, I would say it's very cinematic without being overly stylized. The skin tones are very consistent, and the highlight roll-off is really smooth, and the noise texture is organic. I've used this camera for wedding films, branded content, behind the scenes projects. It holds its own against a lot of the higher competitor cinema cameras, and I feel like the image quality is fantastic coming out of this camera. I absolutely love grading the L-log footage, and I have a couple LUTs if you guys are interested. I'll leave a link down below that I've made using this camera, and it should work with all L-log footage. Switching between video formats in the menu system can be a bit convoluted. I love that I can set preset profiles to switch between them quickly, but Leica can simplify this part of the UI for the faster changes on set. I have 5 different presets I set on the video, and you can quickly go into the menu and switch between different file recording formats. So let's talk a little bit about the autofocus of this camera. It's definitely improved from the SL2S, and I find this very reliable. I've used this on weddings, on photography shoots in the studio, a lot of different situations, and it's definitely been improved. Let's be honest though, Leica's autofocus reputation hasn't always been the greatest, but the SL3S introduces a hybrid autofocus system using contrast and object detection, and it performs very well. I'm happy to report that the face detection and eye detection performs very well. I found this works well in real world environments, using this on weddings, portrait shoots, and although it's not Sony fast, it's definitely usable, and I'm very happy switching to this system. I haven't found any issues with the autofocus. So the IBIS has improved. It's got 5.5 stops of stabilization, and I do a lot of handheld shoots, slow push-ins, locked off tripod shots. Appreciate having IBIS built in. This camera's reliability has been excellent for me for high pressure wedding scenarios to dusty outdoor travel shoots. This is a working photographer's camera. So no camera is perfect, so let's talk a little bit about the cons of this camera. I would say battery life is just okay. You'll want some extra batteries for sure. I use the optional grip, so I never really have to worry about an all-day shoot, but I would plan on bringing 2 to 3 batteries for a full day shoot if you do not have the battery grip. The flip-up screen is better than nothing, but a full articulating screen would have been more usable and flexible here. I'd like them to integrate that in some of their future cameras, especially for hybrid work. It comes in handy. Top dials are a little bit too easy to bump if you're using it on a strap, so I've accidentally bumped into these dials to switch up my settings. So I've ended up, even in video mode, I've disabled these dials because I find that it ends up switching my settings too easily. So let's talk about the memory card door. It feels a little plasticky compared to the rest of the body. I feel like the rubber ports need to be changed as well. I kind of like the door system that a lot of the other mirrorless cameras are using. So despite some of those usability quirks that I mentioned, it's the most complete camera Leica has ever made for working shooters. Thanks for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.